I'm Grace Helbig here with 24 seconds of climate reality. Did you know renewable energy is boosting the global economy? So far, it has created over 5 million jobs around the world. And by 2030, that number is expected to be as many as 16.7 million. Whew! That's 24 seconds that can change the world.
What can change in a day? A solar array can power a community. A business can embrace clean technology. A nation can vote to reduce carbon pollution. Around the world, every day, people are taking action to fight climate change, enacting real solutions, and already seeing the benefits. Join us as we travel on a journey of progress around the world, exploring the path toward a better, cleaner future for all of us, and how you can help create it. What can change in a day? Our future. This is 24 Hours of Reality. 24 Reasons for Hope.
Typhon King here for what is sadly my last segment this year of 24 Hours of Reality, 24 Reasons of Hope. I'll be talking about a clean energy development that gives us a lot of reasons for optimism. The fact that renewable energy is spurring job growth around the world. As grids get upgraded, solar panels, wind farms, and hydroelectric power are creating jobs for people in all walks of life. And its accessibility means that the economic and environmental gains are being felt globally. The bottom line, solutions do exist. And a key driver, make that the key driver behind the push for successful policies to address our reliance on unsustainable energy reserves, is this Nobel Peace Prize winner and activist. Please welcome the man who has done so much to transform our global energy economy, tackle pollution, and create jobs. Al Gore.
Thank you very much, Typhon, and thanks for doing this long shift in the middle of the night New York time. Looking forward to the rest of hour 18, and I'm excited to present the 18th reason for hope. And this is a big one. The clean energy transition that's picking up speed so dramatically is now creating jobs and revitalizing manufacturing industries around the world. At a time when many countries are struggling with unemployment, income inequality, and other economic problems, renewable energy is providing an exciting new source of job growth and wage growth. Not only is climate action not a choice between the economy and the environment, we see now that it can and it does spur new development, new industry, new innovation, and new jobs. That is an important reason for hope. And the 18th reason for hope, just to summarize again, is that renewable energy is now spurring the growth of new jobs all around the world. So let's take a look. The important new study that was just released 2 days ago by the United Nations, the Calderon Report, technically called Better Climate, Better Growth, a New Climate Economy Report, summarized in one of its findings this important source of hope. Investment in low-carbon energy sources and energy efficiency is a major source of job creation. That's great, and it comes at a time when we need a new major source of job creation. You know, in past economic downturns, we have seen great challenges bring great opportunities to put people back to work. The Great Depression of the 1930s was ended in the United States with the mobilization in the war against fascism. There are many other examples. But now that we have a period of slow growth and protracted slow recovery from the recent Great Recession, what a wonderful opportunity to have a major new source of job creation if we seize it. So let's look at the evidence for why this is such an important stimulus to economic sustainable growth. First of all, these new wind power systems are creating high-paying, good jobs. This is a high technology industry that is jobs intensive. And all of the nations that have taken the lead in building windmills, for example, China, are putting a lot of people to work. This is in the United States, in Colorado, where one of these giant windmill blades is on display. They make them there, and they're paying good wages. This is a tremendous new opportunity. This is in Canada, in Ontario, where they're making parts of a giant wind tower. This is another one of these enormous blades. And look at the facts that are presented in this slide. The number of green jobs or clean jobs that have been listed in the United States climbed over the last 12 months almost 90%. Now, how many categories of good jobs that pay good wages are growing that rapidly in this day and age? This is a tremendous opportunity and a great reason for hope. We're seeing that a lot of people all over the world are getting employment in this new industry. Let me go back to this one because it shows that on a global basis, there are now 6.5 million people already who work directly or indirectly in the renewable energy sector. And as this transition to replace dirty fossil fuels with renewable sources of energy picks up speed, we can anticipate that this job growth will also accelerate. The focus has been here on renewable energy jobs here in Salvador, Brazil, the installation of solar panels on the first solar-powered sporting venue in Latin America. But it's also important to recall some evidence that was presented in an earlier hour where we presented a source of hope, and that is the massive market for retrofitting buildings. Remember, buildings are a source of almost 25% of all global warming pollution because so many of our buildings were built in an inefficient way that allows the escape of heat during winter and the escape of cool air during summer. And the great task of adding insulation, adding better windows, replacing inefficient lighting systems with the new very efficient LEDs, those are all accompanied by the creation of lots of good jobs. Well, we have a big challenge in front of us. In order to solve the climate crisis, we have to retrofit buildings. We have to build all of these windmills and solar panels and install the new energy efficient pumps and piping systems and all of the other advances in energy efficiency. All of them are associated with the kinds of jobs that cannot be outsourced. They have to be performed in the community. So this is the opportunity that many have been waiting for to put people back to work in much larger numbers and get sustainable economic growth in the process. That really is a reason for hope. This is in my home state of Tennessee, where photovoltaic solar panels are being manufactured in Memphis. And this person's job is one of so many millions. In fact, last year, solar jobs in the United States grew 10 times faster than the average growth in jobs overall. Clearly, this is an opportunity. And with the need for many more solar panels and windmills, we can see how many people can be put to work. Again, in Canada, the manufacturing of solar panels is putting Canadians back to work. But it's not only in North America, it's all around the world. Here in the United States, it's astonishing to note that the number of jobs in the solar industry now outnumber the number of jobs in the coal mining industry. That is a sign of things to come. Now, remember that the loss of coal mining jobs has been primarily because the coal companies have introduced these new automated forms of coal mining, and actually the loss of jobs in coal began to start a long time ago. But the appearance of many millions of new jobs in solar and wind and other renewable energy technologies is a fantastic and encouraging sign of hope. This is in Spain. Spain, in the early years of this push to jumpstart the solar revolution, along with Germany, had very generous government encouragement for the rapid adoption of these new technologies. And it also created a lot of jobs, and it is still doing so. China is a special case in so many ways, and particularly where renewable energy systems and sustainability technologies are concerned. China made a conscious decision to build more solar panels and more windmills than any country in the world. And it's one of the many reasons why we've seen this enormous internal migration from rural areas of China to the coastal areas that are oriented toward the export of products that are sold in the West. But it creates jobs everywhere these panels are made. In South Africa, this happens to be in Durban. Solar projects bring jobs with higher pay on average than other jobs. Now, a quick aside, because in one of the films that was specially made for this 24 Hours program this year, one of the young people asked in the Why Not segment, why doesn't South Africa have more solar panels? Well, they do have some, but the question is an important one. And I want to say in an aside that South Africa is an example of a country that is extremely tied to coal, not only because they have a lot of coal, but because the municipalities of South Africa get much of their revenue from the coal-burning electricity generating company that has a monopoly there. And the ruling party, the African National Congress, has an investment arm that's heavily invested in the coal industry. So the young person who was asking that question and making reference to why aren't there more solar panels in South Africa was actually on to something very, very important. South Africa is one of the countries with this fantastic resource of sun. It has insolation or constant sunlight to a degree that few other countries do. So, yet another reason why South Africa should adopt a faster transition to solar energy is the creation of jobs that accompany the shift to renewable energy. Now, here is an important fact as well. In the United States, there has been a particular challenge that also is kind of a moral obligation to put veterans to work and to make sure that those returning from the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan have good job opportunities. Well, the solar industry is employing veterans at a much higher rate than other industries. That is an encouraging sign as well. And it's one of the many reasons why this shift toward renewable energy and the retrofitting of buildings and the introduction of energy efficiency technologies is creating the opportunity to lift up the economy and to provide more opportunities for people who take jobs in the renewable energy industry. For a long time, we have known that as we solve the climate crisis and reduce global warming pollution, we can accomplish other benefits simultaneously, improving health, improving national security by reducing our dangerous dependence on these areas of the world from which the carbon-based fuels come, And now, at a time of economic stress, even though we're in a recovery, the number one challenge economically is to provide more jobs with higher incomes so that the economy can get back to health and have a sustainable pattern of growth that provides dignity to people in the workforce. So what are we waiting for? Another reason for hope is that these jobs can be created by accelerating the transition to a sustainable, renewable energy system that provides hope for the future and jobs for young people and Americans of all ages and people in other countries. The job-creating potential of the renewable transition is yet another reason for hope.
When it's laid out so well by Mr. Gore, it is clear how important it is that we use our collective and individual leverage to get politicians and opinion makers behind clean and renewable energy initiatives. Because not only do these initiatives offset the risks posed by carbon emissions, they create jobs too. Because the way forward and the means to get us there are clear. We just need to work for it. So let's get engaged in the quest for a healthier, more sustainable world by pledging to join the Climate Reality Project in dedicating a day to make a difference. Tens of thousands of people are coming together to make this our moment. The moment where collectively we decide it's time to stand up and stop the dangers of climate change. It's time to turn the solutions we have into the clean energy future we want. So I'm dedicating a day to doing my part. Won't you join me? With millions standing up together, we can change anything. So don't wait, be a part of the change that is starting to transform the world. Go to 24hoursofreality.org to dedicate a day to climate change. As we confront the subject of climate change and its impact on our lives, the challenges before us quickly become real and serious. Yet it's important to not lose hope, because the fact is that real solutions exist. They already are being adopted around the world, and where they are, people are seeing all sorts of benefits. This good news is also important to share, so people realize that when we act together, we can build a cleaner, healthier future for all.
Carbon dioxide has reached levels not seen in millions of years.
Climate change is here and getting worse.
Extreme weather has wrought havoc all over the world.
It's happening here and now.
We are running out of damage by the war.
So there's been a lot of news about climate change. A lot of bad news, that is. And for the good news?
Right.
Well, there hasn't really been any. Until recently. Today we're facing the hard truth of climate change with the stubborn relentlessness of human will. And good news is happening.
Right. And now for some good news.
Every day, new solutions are emerging. And not just wouldn't it be neat if solutions, real solutions. Our ability to convert sunshine into usable energy is rapidly becoming more advanced and accessible. Which is great because every hour the sun is sending enough raw energy to Earth to meet the entire world's energy demands for a full year. And the cost for clean energy technologies is dropping. Right now, the cost of solar energy is equal to or cheaper than fossil fuel energy in about 79 countries.
I didn't even know there were 79 countries.
And the electric car market is booming thanks to falling battery prices. And guess who likes that?
Who?
All types of people from around the world are starting to embrace renewable solutions. Schools are being powered by clean energy. Financial institutions are realizing dirty energy is a bad investment. And businesses are finding that going green is good for the bottom line. Which leads us to more good news. These solutions are actually working. It turns out that what is good for the environment is also good for the economy in many ways, like reducing poverty, spurring innovation, and creating jobs. In 2013, nearly 6.5 million people were employed globally by the renewable energy industry.
Job creation. Brilliant.
Right. And while other industries are shrinking, renewables are growing as new technologies and capabilities are being rapidly discovered.
And here's some more great news.
This groundswell of support for renewable energy is forcing leaders and governments to take action. The two biggest carbon emitters, China and the US, have made moves to curb their carbon pollution and invest in cleaner energy technologies. And they're not alone. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon is convening nations to forge a climate treaty that could unify the world to work together and lower our carbon emissions, transitioning us to a global clean energy society. We all know the bad news. Climate change is here. It's big, it's bad, and it's hurting us and our economies. But the important thing to know is that there is also good news. We have solutions here today, not dreams or wishes, real-world solutions that are ready to go and that are already saving money and improving lives.
Everyone's a winner.
If we rally around this good news and embrace solutions, we can forge the path to a clean energy future and make sure that progress is our new reality.
That's good news. Thank you for watching.
That's why we are taking this opportunity to learn more about the benefits to the economy and those involved in the clean energy industry with an exclusive field report. We're about to introduce you to one young man who is living proof that clean energy can also produce good jobs. In this report from the field, we profile an entrepreneur who saw the promise of solar energy to power the people of rural East Africa. Sure enough, this form of clean energy has proven to be more reliable than the traditional grid, and its use has taken off in everything from households to institutions.
Patrick Ngowi is a man on a mission. He wants to reshape the future of energy use in Africa, one solar panel at a time. His Tanzanian-based company, Helvetic Solar, is driving renewable energy and job growth throughout East Africa.
I'm the founder and CEO of Helvetic Solar, which aims at bridging the energy gap within East Africa by supplying, installing, and maintaining solar equipment in the region. Here at home, everything is run on solar. This is a typical solar home. You've got your TV that runs on solar. You've got your computer that's on solar. Kitchen equipment that's on solar. This is your battery bank. So this is where everything happens, you know. This you've got batteries in here that charge the system, your inverter there, your charge controller there. So this is my battery bank. So during the night hours, what happens is you charge your batteries during the day, it stores the energy, and at night, you actually use the inverter to change the DC energy to AC. So it's then transformed, and then you have, like for this particular system, 24 hours. We do operating the fridge, microwave, TV, radio, you mention it. I mean, it's done. And when we come all the way here, you've got a solar water heater. It preserves hot water for 72 hours, which is 3 days. So even if the sunlight isn't enough, it's a cloudy day, you still have hot water in the tank, 300 liters of that. Helvetic Solar was founded in 2007. It was a company that had only one member, me. I founded it by supplying and installing solar equipment in the small town of Arusha. We're the first solar company in Arusha to start solar installations. And what I would do is close the shop, go and install the panel on the rooftop, come back and open the shop again. And then we're able to grow and scale up. And now we employ many number of people working for us. And we do the same thing. We've expanded our services from the small town of Arusha throughout Tanzania, and now we've ventured out into other markets within East Africa region.
Today, Patrick employs dozens of solar installation experts and more than 100 resellers around East Africa. Ephraim Kamati is his right-hand man here in Tanzania. He works with large and small clients on the ground out of their head office in the mountain town of Arusha, which rests in a valley at the foot of Mount Meru, sister to Mount Kilimanjaro and Africa's 10th highest peak. The two of them have driven his company forward, signing deals to provide clean and dependable energy across the region.
We have a very good team. We started with very few, like 6 employees, 3 technicians, but now we are looking at 26 employee technicians. This shows that really we have grown, and we are well distributed through Tanzania, through East Africa, and we really want to move ahead through Africa.
Helvetic covers the top and bottom of the market for solar in the sub-region. Tanzanians like David Makondo prefer solar systems because they are far more reliable than the national grid.
Our colleagues at my workplace, they have asked, whom do you advise to provide solar? And I've told them Solar Helvetic. When I saw the lights come on for the first time, I was overwhelmed. It was simply my dreams come true. And I can move in this weekend without the grid, and I have the solar. I can move in.
Today is the first day that the lights go on in David Makondo's house. All electrical solar systems work roughly the same way. A panel on the roof charges a battery in his house for when the sun goes down. Then an inverter changes the electricity so it will work with everyday appliances, from charging a cell phone to running a refrigerator for life-saving vaccines in rural hospitals.
Right now, if you look at the Tanzanian market, you have about only the coverage of the grid coverage is at 22%. So you've got the remaining 78% without access to energy. And this 78% is both in urban, peri-urban, and rural areas. What Helvetic does is to bridge that energy gap by supplying the urban and rural clients with the much needed energy in different levels. We are talking from the range of households all the way through to organizations, institutions, and hospitals, clinics. So we cater for that type of market. Putting a smile on one's face is just amazing. And that's when this goes to show the potential of solar in the region.
Helvetic supplies electricity to all sorts of non-governmental organizations that need reliable energy solutions here, from the United Nations to smaller groups like the Nature Conservancy.
The problem related to power in Tanzania is mainly power rationing. The entire grid is depending on water. So the moment we have lower water availability in the existing dams, it is a big problem if you're running a business. An international organization like ourselves, for example, is a challenge because of meeting the expectations. Communication are mainly internet depending. So once you're out of power, it means you're out of connectivity.
Climate change means more erratic rainfall. For a country reliant on hydroelectric power as their main source of energy, that means that grid power becomes erratic as well. Solar power here is the go-to solution for dependable energy in the region. For many clients, the long-term saving in cost and productivity is well worth the sizable upfront investment.
I would say to whoever who is thinking about having solar panels, they should go for it. I mean, it's one thing that you'll never ever regret to have. It's a lot of money upfront, and I'm sure a lot of people are worried to invest such an amount. It's worth the investment, actually. We've never gone back to Helvetic, for example, to a point even themselves would reach out to us and say, are you guys sure there's no problem at all? We're like, we're fine, so.
Helvetic CEO Patrick Ngowi helps put the potential of solar in Africa into perspective.
Let's look at Africa as a whole. You have got a population of 600 million people who are not connected to electricity. And out of those 200 million people are in urban areas, 400 million people are in rural areas. Now, what happens is for them to get any form of energy, like lighting, they have to use kerosene. Like for them to be able to get hot water, they have to chop wood, biomass. And this is disastrous to the environment because you've got trees that are cut down, you've got the fumes that come from the kerosene that is burnt. So what solar does, it really bridges that gap between those ones who have access to electricity and those ones who don't, by offering a clean form of energy that's capable of being installed anywhere.
Like cell phones took over the market and leapfrogged over the installation of landlines in Africa, Ngowi believes solar is on the verge of making the same sort of astounding jump, in turn making the centralized electric grid power of the past obsolete.
I mean, look at the communications and the leapfrog that we've had in terms of mobile cell phones in Africa, in East Africa as a whole. It's been amazing. And what I foresee is solar as well is going to have that leapfrog. Why? Because solar is going to take over. Because solar is going to be able to make those ones in rural areas have energy in their locations.
Through Helvetic's not-for-profit arm, the Light for Life Foundation, more than 1,000 small-scale solar systems like these have been distributed to rural farmers across the country. Rose Salimu and her husband Daudi have been using theirs for 2 years. Today, Ephraim is visiting them on their rural homestead to check on the system.
Sijisikii vizuri. Itabidi hata kama niezima mchana natafuta namna nikachukue mafuta tanje kutumia nyumbani. Naweza moto naweza kaisha.
Because of this homegrown Tanzanian company, rural schools like this one now have hot water and electricity for the very first time, providing sanitation and safety for hundreds of young learners.
What happened was, before you had, in order for them to get hot water, they had to burn charcoal, firewood, in order to be able to get just a bit of hot water. Now they've installed solar systems, solar water heaters. Today they get hot water whenever it's needed, be it in the kitchens, be it in the bathrooms, and it's already installed.
At Patrick's off-grid house in the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro, he and Ephraim look at new solar products that they can bring to their clients. The famous snows of Kilimanjaro are almost completely gone because of global warming, and Patrick feels solar offers the world a solution to this problem.
If anybody is skeptical and feels that the climate crisis cannot be overcome, well, I think they're wrong. Why? Because look at places that were off-grid. We're cutting down trees in order for them to be able to get any form of energy. Today, I sit in one of those places and we are no longer cutting down trees, we are powering our homes using solar. So that skepticism has to go away. Now we have to look at how we can adapt the solution at a grander scale.
Patrick has big plans and is looking for big investors to help bring clean energy to millions of people across the continent.
What I'm hopeful about is the fact that we've been able to capture the light.
As we watch and learn about the groundbreaking technology driving today's climate change solutions, it's hard to imagine the challenge of an impoverished village transitioning out of underdevelopment. And yet, the same solar technology that can help to solve the climate crisis can also help to bring rural people out of darkness and poverty, even turning villagers into solar engineers. Let's see how as we journey to India in our next report from the field.
Malaysian section of Borneo. This is the first time that Bunker, founder of Barefoot College, and Megan, his right hand, have been here.
It is one of the remotest villages we've come to so far. In some of these villages we've covered in 64 countries. It's never been so inaccessible like this one. Challenged. I feel challenged, and I feel that we will really make a big difference once this happens here.
His goal? To apply Barefoot College's winning formula to help the village of Sun Sogun to transition out of underdevelopment.
First, the entry point is solar, and then it can be water, can be health. Light, I think, is the biggest priority for villages all over the world which have no electricity. Always been the case.
Indeed, without renewable energy, the poorest populations must plunder the available resources for wood and spend a fortune buying batteries or fuel to provide light after nightfall.
It's difficult to get diesel all the time because we live so far from everything. Therefore, sometimes we run out of diesel, so we don't do anything except go to sleep.
Bunker and Megan would like to provide solar electricity to this village within 1 year, as they have already done in over 1,000 villages around the world. But to install and ensure the maintenance of solar panels, they're going to need help from the population, and more specifically, from the grandmothers.
All the women 35 and plus, come and sit here. Kayak!
3 of them, ranging from 35 to 50 years old and scarcely able to read and write, will be chosen by Bunker and Megan to leave here for the first time in their lives to study electronics for 6 months at the Barefoot College in India.
Kalau yang tidak tahan sampai 6 bulan, macam mana?
What if can't withstand for 6 months?
Oh, she will find it very easy.
Is that when men go outside, they don't come back. But the women always come back. We have trained 600 grandmothers in 64 countries around the world, and every grandmother has gone back home.
Every 6 months, 40 women from all over the world travel to Tilonia, a small Indian village in the state of Rajasthan, to become solar engineers.
This name? This name? No.
Learning the names of the different transistors before mounting them to pre-printed circuits is even more difficult when you don't speak the same language as the teacher.
On the first day, did you understand something?
Nothing. We were here, we were watching and wondering, what does he want? What does he want us to do? We didn't understand anything. Bhagwat, the training manager, easily helps them through this first challenge because he's been there himself. 30 years ago, Bunker took charge of solar power for the entire campus, though he knew nothing about it.
At
that time, I thought I could not do this job. But Bunker encouraged me and told me, you have to do this.
So I'm not working solar, I don't know what is the problem, so no...
I told him, I do not have electricity at my home, so I don't know how to make it work.
But Bunker ji helped me, so it's a moral support. Not demoralized, moral support. So you go and try.
This university, the largest in the world to train poor rural populations, both illiterate and semi-illiterate, sprang up between 1984 and 1986, thanks to barefoot students like Banwar.
So Bhanwar was from the village. He knew how to build. So we got him with 12 other barefoot architects who also can't read and write, who built this campus.
Initially, I was scared when Bunker asked me to do it because there was so much money involved. We gathered with a group of villagers and decided how to do it. It was easy, and then it flowed naturally.
Its construction alone symbolized the entire philosophy of this Gandhi disciple. First, trust in the knowledge of those at the bottom of the pyramid.
All the buildings here in this campus are connected underground to this tank here. You're sitting on a 400,000 liter tank. So if at all there is ever a period of drought, we still have enough water in this campus to give us at least 5 years.
Then, make use of the latest in green innovation to ensure sustainable development.
One of the many philosophies of the Barefoot College is to demystify technology and to decentralize the technology and bring it into the hands of very poor people. Even very sophisticated technology like solar, very sophisticated technology like rainwater, we have demystified and brought back to the communities to show. And this is one way place where the engineers can also learn and unlearn how it is important that what the people have thought of thousands of years old is still relevant, still urgent, still applicable today.
Result? Thanks to ancestral techniques and the use of high-tech solar panels, Barefoot College is the first Indian campus to be 100% autonomous for both energy and water, for less than 15 euros per square meter of construction costs. This feat earned Bunker Roy the Aga Khan Prize in 2002.
What do they call it? The Nobel Prize for Architecture? But we gave back $50,000 because they didn't believe that Bhanwar, who you met in the morning today, built the whole campus without any architect. The architect made the drawings, But everything else was done by the Barefoot architects. So I haven't lost a sleepless night over it.
Since its creation in 1972, the Social Work and Research Center, more commonly called Barefoot College, has hosted some of the most visionary and influential people on the planet. Today, Pat Mitchell, former head of PBS and CNN executive, is visiting.
Namaste. Hey. Oi.
She's come to the source of the bottom-up concept that has already helped over 3 million barefoot people to take their fate into their own hands.
You know, you're overwhelmed when you see these women from all these different places, all these different languages, all working on the projects. I find stunning. Yeah. Really surprising. No, that's why women are going to run the world. Right? Absolutely. And maybe figure out how to solve some of the problems we have going on everywhere.
It was the theories that were hard, but practically it was really easy, like breathing. Now I'm really proud at my age to be able to go back to the Congo and be called a solar engineer. I never expected to be that.
The university offers no diploma. The only reward? Leaving with knowledge that will change the life of the community.
You love us, grandmother said we love you. Europeans want to explore. Actually, we are really still back.
This was true for Fatima and Mize, who came from Zanzibar. In a few weeks, they will enable 100 families in their fishing village to have electricity for the first time.
I installed this device that allows the household to use 3 lamps and to have a plug where they can charge a phone. I'm not afraid to do what I do because I'm perfectly capable. It's true that it's very unusual in our culture for a woman to get on the roof of a house. People think I'm really strong or really intelligent. They see me as someone important. I'm not used to that. And it's why I love my new job.
Beneficiaries of her services pay an annual subscription for the installation, maintenance, and replacement of solar panels.
There are many advantages to this type of light. Before, we breathed in kerosene fumes, which caused us throat and lung infections. We can breathe normally now, we can see clearly, and most of all, we can light our houses as much as we want. It's wonderful.
Demand for this system from neighboring villages is exploding, as is interest from the governments in other countries. The time has come for the Indian campus in Tulonia to produce offspring.
The women are trained to train. They have this gift and they want to use that and they want to train other women, and we need to be able to create the place for them to do that and to really engage those local governments, whether it's Southeast Asia, Latin America, South America, or the Middle East or the Pacific region. We hope to have regional presence in all of those regions.
5 training centers are being built, like here in Zanzibar. Eventually, an army of solar engineers will bring electricity to all the rural areas that have been left behind.
If we stick to a community-based model and we mobilize people at the bottom of the pyramid, we're talking about more than 40% of the population on the Earth. It's, of course, it's the key. It will have the hugest effect on climate that we can possibly have as a world.
This model is a vivid demonstration that renewables are reducing global poverty and expanding energy access. The Barefoot College has cleared a path for others to follow in their footsteps.
Now let's turn again to our series Youth Fuel from millennial documentary filmmaker Vanessa Black, who has partnered with the Climate Reality Project to ask some tough questions of major carbon polluters and climate deniers around the country. In this episode, she travels to St. Louis, Missouri, home of Peabody Coal, the largest private sector coal company in the United States. whose coal fuels about 10% of the electricity in the nation. The coal industry has claimed that renewable energy is a job killer that has the potential to devastate local economies that currently rely on coal. But is that really the case? In this film, we take a look at those jobs and learn what has really contributed to their decline over the past several decades. It's safe to say the finger isn't pointing at the clean energy sector. Meanwhile, coal might be cheap, but it turns out we aren't really paying the full price when you take into account the cost of carbon pollution that is spilling into the atmosphere. Does it really make sense to keep relying on a dirty fossil fuel when clean energy can provide clean jobs? And who should pay the price for the cost of carbon pollution? Take a look and decide for yourself.
Here we are in St. Louis, Missouri, home to Peabody Energy's headquarters, the largest private sector coal company in the world. Since its founding, Peabody has been responsible for 1% of all anthropogenic carbon emissions. We know burning coal is bad for the environment, and we should look for other resources. But coal argues that renewables would create a job-killing nightmare.
I worked at a coal mine who in 26 years hadn't had a single layoff. In the past 4 years, we've been laid off twice.
It was really devastating to us because we had just had a baby and we've pretty well had to use our savings to live on.
Would alternative energy really kill coal jobs? In this episode of Youth Fuel, we travel to St. Louis to find out. I'm Vanessa Black. I'm a filmmaker and an activist, and I'm traveling around America to find out more about our biggest polluters and climate change deniers. Have you ever heard of Peabody Energy before?
No.
No? Do you know anything about Peabody Energy? No. Peabody Energy?
I heard about the coal stuff.
Yeah, what do you know about them?
I do not know too much or nothing about them now.
Although you may never have heard of them, Peabody has some of the largest coal reserves in the United States.
Across the globe, every man, woman, and child uses 1 ton of coal each year, and Peabody has some 8 billion tons of coal reserve.
And it's a worldwide operation that has no plans to stop mining coal anytime soon.
It is here to stay, and it will continue to grow.
As a single company, Peabody's coal fuels approximately 10% of the electricity generated in the United States and 2% of electricity generated throughout the world. Global coal demand is expected to reach 8.5 billion metric tons by 2016. If many scientists around the world agree that we should stop using coal to combat climate change, then how do we keep these companies from expanding? One idea from Citizen Climate Lobby is to tax carbon.
Revenue neutral carbon tax that taxes the carbon emissions and gives the money back to the public to offset the increased costs in consumer goods and energy. Coal seems cheap, oil seems cheap, but it's not really cheap because there are all of these costs that go along with it that we end up paying for in other ways.
Cole says the carbon tax will kill American jobs.
My husband has been a coal miner since 1994. In the past 6 years, my husband has been laid off 3 times.
When in reality, better mining technologies and competition from natural gas kill coal jobs. Peabody CEO even said it himself at an energy conference.
We're going to see more and more autonomous systems for the production of whether it's coal or other mineral commodities or oil or gas to try and minimize that human interface.
The fact is, U.S. coal mining jobs have been in decline for decades. According to the U.S. Mine Safety and Health Administration, from 1978 to 2013, the U.S. lost more than 132,000 coal jobs, which is 52% of its workforce. Coal says taxing carbon would cut jobs. However, they're clearly making plans to make coal mining more efficient through newer technologies. They're also looking for other ways to save. Creditors allege that Peabody arranged to cut health care benefits to retirees.
United Mine Workers of America presses on in the union's attempts to pressure coal companies over the payment of retirement benefits.
My father gave nearly 3 decades of his life to the coal companies, to Peabody, with the promise that his retirement would be secure. Now my parents are facing the reality and the fear that they may lose the ability to afford going to the doctor while CEOs like Greg Boyce continue to gamble with the lives of thousands of his employees and millions of innocent people.
The fact is, many of these miners work their whole lives for the coal industry and their health suffers for it. We know coal is dirty, but coal argues that they can make it clean.
We can be energy independent. We can continue to use our most abundant fuel cleanly and responsibly. We can, we will. Clean coal, America's power.
How many kilowatts have been derived from clean coal? 0. Clean coal is a marketing term used by the coal industry. It relies on unproven technologies in a desperate and expensive attempt to avoid using truly clean renewable energy. Until we use renewables, coal will continue to cost us.
We all pay for those costs one way or another, whether it's in our health bills or, the pollution in the environment, dirty water, dirty air. We pay for those costs. It's just not reflected in the price of the things that are directly related to energy.
By burning coal, we pump the atmosphere full of unsustainable amounts of greenhouse gases that affect people and the environment. Peabody will argue that they can make coal clean, but the technologies are unproven at the commercial scale. Therefore, we must move to renewables, and it won't cost America jobs. Join the growing movement to solve the climate crisis and fuel a cleaner future.
Today, we're calling upon everyone to try and be part of the solution to the challenges that confront us and our climate reality. Our next performer is a gifted singer-songwriter born in Malibu, California, who's performing a song that, fittingly enough, is entitled Try. This is Colby Calais.
2, 3.
Al Gore!
Put your makeup on, get your nails done, curl your hair, run the extra mile, keep it slim so they like you. They like you. Get your sexy on, don't be shy, girl. Take it off. This is what you want to belong. So they like you. Do you like you? You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try. No, you don't have to try. No, no, no. No, no. Get your shopping on at the mall. See credit cards, you don't have to choose. Buy it all, so they like you. Do they like you? Wait a second, why should you care what they think of you when you're all alone by yourself? Do you like you? Do you like you? No, you don't have to try so hard. You don't have to give it all away. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try so hard. You don't have to bend until you break. You just have to get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try, try, try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try. No, you don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try, 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 try. You don't have to try. No, you don't have to try. No, no, no. No, 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 no. You don't have to try so hard. get up, get up, get up, get up. You don't have to change a single thing. You don't have to try. 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 Take your makeup off, let your hair down, take a breath, look into the mirror at yourself. Don't you like you? 'Cause I like you. Thank you very much, you guys.
There's so much more to come on 24 Hours of Reality, including another of former Vice President and Climate Reality Project founder Al Gore's reasons to have hope, conversations with the World Bank's Dr. Jim Kim, actor Bradley Whitford, Reed Hunt, Counselor to the President John Podesta, and Lieutenant General Russell Honoré. More from our green man on the street, Ian Somerhalder, more field reports you need to see, and music from Jack Johnson, Boys to Men, and Fitz and the Tantrums. You can see all of the highlights of 24 Hours of Reality starting later today at 24hoursofreality.org. As we spend the day looking at the solutions that exist to reduce carbon pollution and how they can benefit us all, some simple questions might come to mind. Like, why haven't we acted yet to solve climate change? Why not embrace clean, renewable energy? We think those are pretty great questions. And as the United Nations prepares to convene a special meeting of the world's leaders to collaborate on negotiating a new agreement that can ensure a clean energy future, it's a perfect time to pose some of those questions. And who is better at asking those simple but tough questions than children? The Climate Reality Project launched a campaign to hear from the world's young people in their own words. After all, they are the ones with the most to lose and the most to gain. So it's only natural that they would have a few pointed questions for their leaders. Let's listen. And after this inspiring compilation of young folks from around the world, we'll see a single submission from a future climate leader from Australia.
My name's Amy Farrah and I live in England.
Hi, I'm Aiden and I'm from Hong Kong.
Hi, my name's Molly and I live in Malaysia.
Hi, I am Mika from South Africa.
I live in Croatia.
I live in Auckland, New Zealand.
And I'm from Brazil.
Brazil.
From South Africa.
From France.
From the United States.
United States.
From Mongolia.
From Malaysia.
From Dubai.
From Romania.
From Mexico City.
From the Philippines.
From India. From India.
Western Australia.
So my question for all world leaders is this.
And my question to the government bodies is?
My question to the UN is?
And I guess the first thing I want to say, the first question I want to ask.
My question is? My question.
My question.
My question.
My question.
I'd like to question.
I would like to ask.
I'm asking members of the UN.
Why do you sit here and pretend?
Why are we letting companies freely pollute the atmosphere?
Why are you allowing the palm oil industry to destroy Malaysian rainforests?
Why do global economic policies consistently stimulate and encourage reliance on burning fossil fuels?
Why is there no more emphasis on developing a generation who can take responsibility for the causes of climate change?
Why, in South Africa, a country overflowing with sunlight, don't we use solar panels?
Why not countries with similar consumption formulate region-specific laws and targets for the next decade?
Why not to put pressure on these companies to change their methods?
Why don't governments start creating sustainable modes of transport?
Para preservar o bem mais precioso que existe no planeta.
Why not change our focus, leave animosity and hatred and competition behind?
Why not incentivize people to use energy more efficiently?
Why not invest more resources in communities?
Why not strive to reduce carbon emissions?
Everyone has a stake in what happens to our planet.
The global problem requires a global solution.
It's time to act. So what are you waiting for?
Hey to the moon and back, this is you from Australia. We learn from history that we don't learn from history, and ever since Severn Collis Suzuki gave the speech which silenced the world, there's still a poverty of change. We're creatures of habit, and old habits die hard, but the most poisonous excuses have always started with, oh, but we've always done it this way. And now the future is calling for change. My question is, what are you afraid of? To the global leaders who guide nations, who build and protect communities, who pledge service and provide a voice for their people, what are you afraid of? To the lawmakers, the authority holders, Where's the action that was once promised in spirit? Are you not committed to a future for your people? Are you as afraid for the future as I am? Because new days are not promises anymore, they're threats. For a future, a real one, beating, thriving, and alive. Why not?
And sadly, that brings the end of my time here to be part of an amazing cause. Next, it's on with Sarah Backhouse.